some audiences. A kid is awoken by intense pain and a scratching sound in the ear, usually a cockroach. Doctors, what still makes your skin crawl? I'm a trauma surgeon, so blood and mangled bodies doesn't really faze me, but full body skin conditions do. Things like eczema, herpeticum, and Norwegian scabies make me itch all over and are really uncomfortable. It's where someone who has eczema and bad immune system gets infected with herpes, and it spreads to all the broken skin. Basically, their entire body is covered with herpes. How cruel people can be. Dealing with disease is one thing, but dealing with victims of any kind of assault, domestic violence, or mass tragedy is chilling to the bone. Large parasites that live in the skin. I can deal with worms in the organs, or microscopic spiders living in my face pores, but when it comes to scabies or botflies, I want to claw my own skin off. Fun fact, you currently have hundreds of tiny spider mites living in your face pores. I can handle skin sloughing disease.
Listen to like a mystery story.
Okay. I didn't know it was gonna be that dark. I could have sworn I picked the whole
this
fucking,
content may be upsetting or disturbing to some audiences.
Normal people just listen to
I can't.
not like copyrighted music, but like nice, like a lo-fi, non-copyright.
Okay, I'm gonna put on something that's the same, but not like scary.
That wasn't scary, it was just disturbing.
Exactly.
r/ask Reddit. Girls of Reddit, what made you go from maybe I would date him to no way I would date him? I met a guy at a concert and he seemed really laid back and funny at first, so I agreed to go on a date a few days later.
Axis, how you
I
doing?
soon found out he had a serious one-upping issue. If he asked about my workday, and I said it was really stressful, he'd say, oh, I'm sure it wasn't as bad as my day. Or if I said I think I overspent while clothes shopping, he'd say I paid $1,600 for new golf shirts today. I'm sure you didn't spend that. This went on about even the tiniest little thing. The last straw was
I'm gonna turn down
when
a
I
little
said
bit.
I loved Frozen, and I'd probably seen it a million times.
I turned it
He said
down
in all seriousness
a little
though,
bit.
I've seen it 1,000,001. After 4 dates I realized I absolutely cannot put up with someone constantly trying to outdo whatever I said.
What was I gonna do
He
again?
was
Oh yeah, I had to
constantly
heal up.
correcting people's grammar to the point of absurdity. I was talking about one of my favorite games, and accidentally said Cosmic Encounters instead of Cosmic Encounter. He thought that one S was worth interrupting the conversation for, so he could correct me. I suddenly realized, if I dated him, I would basically dating Sheldon. When I noticed how much he lied, it was practically constant. He would forget that he had already told me a different version of the stories he told me. Once he fucked up nationality were. The first time he that from second time only that from A. Tried to that he could be
It's such a
honest
good
with me
day
and
outside.
just
Too bad we
tell
can't
me
go
why he
outside.
felt the need to lie like that.
You should
But he
technically
just
go
got
outside.
mad at
I
me
mean,
and told me more
Yeah.
lies.
go
So I
like do
eventually
anything
gave up
like
and just
crazy.
went with it. I still get sad thinking about him. I just think he was incredibly insecure,
Lord have
and
mercy.
he had absolutely no reason.
It spreads by
Oh man,
eye
I
contact.
think I'm late to I'm super freckly, and halfway through our first started in about
How to
how
keep fighting
freckled
this?
woman ought how hideous R&D up on about how ugly freckles are.
Okay, why the
Thanked
fuck are
him
the
for
frames
his
drop?
time. About how he thought I was perfect. How sorry I tried to get fucking lost at me. No, I didn't. Doctor it. However, it might be other on this date night and not him. try and fix up with
I know this is not
before
gonna
our
be good,
first
so
date.
I'm gonna jump
That told his
the
he met
fancy.
someone.
That
Right
did
our
so
first date.
much.
Non-stop about how smart.
You said
awesome
what?
slash
And you said what?
I told
I,
him
s-
I volunteered
I
for an
said
animal
I was gonna
rescue.
jump the
His
fancy
response
because
was
Yeah.
bringing
oh my
to your
god, the
after
frames.
seeing tell me how like dog Africa. I'm off.
Of
But
course, she been hyper
unfortunately,
mode.
he had, but he not how he like to adopt a sixth. It was hard keeping it after that. Hated and very ambitious. We went out together a few times, and it was going fine, until he started criticizing me for the time I spend with my friend. And every time I wanted to go and see them, he acts as depressed and needs to talk to me, so I wouldn't see my friend and go see him. That was childish. When I said I think I want to do something with computers, he said, "Have you heard of Microsoft?" Then he wrote Microsoft on a piece of paper and slid it
Mansplaining.
across the table, and that was my career's interviewer. He was good looking and superficially charming. Got along decently, and he wasn't actively mean or anything. So it took a while for me to realize that he was an awful guy to date. I did notice he wasn't very affectionate. I would buy him drinks and meals, shower him with compliments, make him feel better about his insecurity. But he never complimented me, paid for me, or said slash did anything particularly nice. The X was also a lot of me giving him head and him never reciprocating. After we were dating for a few months, I was having a rough
I need
time
to purify
and opened up to
Swablu.
him about my fears and insecurities. And instead of comforting me, he told me that my insecurity was ridiculous and illogical and made me feel guilty for feeling bad. When I confronted him about it, he revealed that he doesn't believe in compliments or in comforting people because it encourages people to be
Well, you got
insecure
your headphones,
and
right?
doesn't fix the problem. It ended
Yeah.
when he
I'm gonna
offered
call you
to
back on
make us
Discord.
breakfast. I ate a
Why?
small plate of it and cleaned up
Cause
everything for him.
it
And
sounds
he
clearer.
charged me $25 on Venmo. That's when I realized he may have actually been a sociopath. Called other girls ugly in an attempt to say I was pretty. That's just immature and rude. He kissed like a puppy. I have never had so much saliva on my freaking face. Not
Hello.
a fan. I don't care how hot you are. Don't lick my freaking face. Met a guy abroad, he and his friend. And me and my friend were the only guests from our country we clicked. Had this super romantic cliche summer fling. Head back home. Men, because women are not prepared to apply themselves the way men are, and he had never met a woman as intellectual as himself before. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Dude, now you
But
have like
no
a
thanks. It
misogynist.
didn't last.
No, it's like
Met up with this
it's
at a bowling alley
sto-
and he
it's
proceeded
stories.
to act like an obnoxious ass
I
after
know,
downing
but
a
the
few
guy is a
drinks.
misogynist.
He
He
had
just
already
said he
killed it at
didn't
this
feel that
point.
women were
But
as
it
smart
gets
as he
better.
was.
No,
Was to
he.
crash
It was
at his
about
place,
the story was
and
like
I
about
kept
this girl
with
who went
it
on a date with a
because
guy,
I
and
figured I
like
could wait out this one horrible meeting.
the guy
and
was
didn't really
misogynist.
want to make the hour drive back home that night. When we get there, I find out he lives with his parents. Nothing wrong with that. But what was wrong was that he didn't tell them I was coming over. So he had to sneak me in. This guy is sloppy runk at this point, and proceeds to strip down to his underwear once we get to his room. Tighty with his BTW, in case any of you were curious. He finds some old pizza left over in a pizza box in his and lays in bed eating, while he's dropping it all over himself. He finally passes out, and I'm playing on my phone debating on whether or not I can leave quietly enough to not wake his parents, because I don't want to be mistaken for a home intruder or something. But his room is a disaster, and I'm not sleeping on that floor, and I'm sure
I don't know
not
why my
getting in his
cat
bed,
is scared of the
while
wind,
I'm
but it
mulling
constantly
over my
goes to the
options in
window.
my head. This dude gets up,
Because that's what he wants to be. He
sleepwalks
wants
to the
to be
corner of
outside.
his room,
But he's
like
scared
this,
of the
let me
wind.
out.
and pisses all over the wall and the floor. He turns around, like he's going back to bed. But wait, nope. He just lays down in the floor in his own bed. I decided it was definitely worth leaving at that point, and made it out without waking anyone up. The guy was so pissed
Why
I
did she
had
stay
just
so long?
failed
Why didn't she
and
just leave?
couldn't comprehend
Wait, what do you
why
mean?
I wanted nothing to do with him anymore.
In the
Even
story.
after
Oh.
I told him what he did. He was 28, and he told me he regularly slept in his mother's bedroom to cuddle her. I've seen Bates Motel. Had to get out, lol. Went on one date with a guy, and he was the sweetest. Super nice to the waitress and everything. Went on second date on a rooftop. Saw an overweight. Should not matter. Couple kissing while he was dropping her off at the apartment. Dude started yelling obscene things, and calling them names. That's just I left him to go apologize to them, and never went back. EHM. He went out for a few drinks on a few occasions. Actually enjoyed his company on those PG-rated dates. One night I ended up at his house and we ended up in bed together. In the middle of the fun time. Gets up and starts cooking some chicken. Not just a few chicken breasts. He spends 4 hours cooking like 10 kilograms of chicken. In the middle of the awkward hours of me bed and him stops by the room and compliments my nipples. Yay, no thanks. He asked me out, which I was really excited about. Bring texts at upset date. He asked if I had a Brazilian wax, because he thought it was hot. I decided my plans had changed, and quickly lost his number. I had a FWB and the first time we had X was in his car. I keep hearing these low-pitched thuds. It was kind late at night, so I'm thinking that I would WTF
Why
is
is
a
a
woodpecker
90%
doing up so
accuracy move
late?
fucking
Then I
miss? Like, what the
realized it's his
fuck?
head hitting the window as he's thrusting. Hey, the X was
What
so
should I be
bad I
talking
was more
about?
interested in the local birds and bee. I knew he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but that was just comical how stupid he was being. The second someone undermines my abilities, cause I'm a woman, the second I lose any respect or attraction I'd had for them. I picked him up in my car, cause we were going to hang out, and he told me his friend thought I looked like it, but he thought I was cute. I turned around and took him home, and didn't speak to him until years later, when he was my server at a restaurant, and had no idea who I was, but told me I looked familiar. He was a coworker and nice to talk to. We had reasonably intelligent discussions about a number of things, whenever business was slow. Much more interesting than the bullshit everyone else was always gossiping about. I wasn't very physically attracted to him, so initially I said no. But after a few repeated attempts I finally agreed to go out, and gave him my number. Wasted no time in using tell me I should send him on. That I arrived for our date wearing a dress and no panties. I have no idea what such a thing now. People who are seemingly even enjoyable to interact with turn into a complete person once you're interacting without the face-to-face connection. He was immediately blocked, and very short after I found a new job, so I haven't heard from him. Cute guy at work. Weeks of building chemistry. Then one day at lunch he went on a rant about how actually a series of messages, and how each character was representative of alternative/taboo stereotype. Bert and Ernie are supposed to be Israel and Palestine. Big Bird is supposed to be Vietnamese matador, etc., in order to normalize them for children from a young age. Finding out he thought toilets
yes,
could
I'm
detect
having another
cancer.
baby.
I was
Yay.
really
That
into one
one
guy
baby.
that made it clear he was interested in
One?
polyamory. So,
Why are you having
nothing
100
that made me
babies?
hate him.
It's
Just
just
knew
a
it would never
challenge.
work out.
You're supposed to
I was
have
very
100
into a
babies
trans
with different,
guy. Found out he
Wait.
had
and
Piker as
typically
a
the
kid.
same person.
Not an issue
Oh, I
initially,
think you said
but
different
I
then
people.
learned that he continued to
Huh?
have the
At least
bad
it was
habit as
different
an
people.
adult. Candy or
Yeah.
food found on the floor.
100 babies with
If he
100
found a
different people?
half-drank bottle of soda,
Mhm.
That's
juice,
crazy.
Starbucks cup, etc. at work, on the bus, outside in the just picked up, and duck and drink it scream. He had money for his own food. Snacks and but he just
You say
could
you're
not
gonna
see
make
a
some
piece of
breakfast
food
before
on
you
the
read.
floor and
Damn,
not
it's over
eat it.
100
Lost
pages and it's
attraction
a 4-hour
instantly.
audiobook.
The idea
Damn.
of having to kiss the same mouth that was eating hit off the floor and strangers' old
I kind of
drinks
missed the boring
obliterated
parts of
it.
school, to be honest.
Personality. I don't care how good looking you think you are.
I wish I
But
had
as soon as
greater
you start
work
treating
ethic.
other people like trash and acting like it's no big deal, then that's the only thing I can see. I was 13. He asked me out on a day I decided to experiment by wearing mild assisted clothes. Yes, my usual scatterpunk attire. I decided to see what he was all about, So I said sure. He hugged me in the hall at the end of the day, proceeded to grab my ass and make a derogatory comment about me to his buddy as I walked away. I turned and thought I'd delivered a look of complete disgust and contempt. He laughed. When I returned to school in my usual black clothes the next day, he immediately tried to tell me how I should dress. I proceeded to tell him to get ducked. In more words, the end of that doucher bag, I wish. Later, after high school, my boyfriend's somewhat distant friend turned out. He married to the doucher bag. Physically/mentally abused her while she was pregnant with a child. What a ducking horrible person. I wish I cold warned her of his character beforehand. Went on a date, and he was not slow or anything, but did not possess any sort of intelligent conversation. I'm Asian. White. On our first/only date, he kept talking about how easy it was to get with Asian girls. Wow, this couldn't have been asked at a better time. Met this guy. Thought he was really cute, and he knew a lot of my friends. So I thought it would be great. I knew he had some health issues and family problems, but it didn't really bother me. We went out to get drinks, and we had an awesome time. He tells me a bunch of stories about himself, and when I mean a bunch I mean the whole conversation was all about him. I didn't think too much of it at the time, but then we hung out again, and the stories were about him again, and they aren't all fun stories. After our third time hanging out it was like he was throwing himself a pity party every time we took. My friends started saying the same thing, like wow he's kind of depressing. I also realized that he knows nothing about me, but I can tell you damn near every bad thing that's happened to him. After 3 times I'm really over it, and don't want to be with someone who is trying to bum me out all the time. Some guy was really handsome, but then when the teacher left the room he started mocking her. Instantly lost attraction. So, I lived in my last place for 9 months, and it was super awesome. One roommate has a friend, M. Was always super sweet. I was the only girl and my room was right next to the common area, and shared a window with the back porch. M was always asking me how my day was, if the TV was too loud, if the company was being too loud, and he didn't there. As someone with anxiety that had just gotten away from an abusive family, my face had lumps and it meant the world to me that he was so considerate. Against my wishes I eventually had to move. I was going to make a move, so I started flirting with him hardcore, and then when we hang out he turns into this totally different guy when he's alone with a woman. He wants to hold hands, and I thought it was he couldn't carry on a full conversation with me without hinting about how much he wanted to kiss me. Thing is fine, but at this point I'm just trying to hang out and get to know each other. Then, he wants to cuddle in my bed. Sometimes I struggle with saying no when it comes to it due to some past experiences. So, I agree. And he sticks his hand in my panties while he thinks I'm asleep. Never spoke to him again. Left me very sad and disappointed. Cute guy in my English class sophomore year. He's nice to me. 30. Dimple. Etc. The more I hung out with him, the more I realized. Nice to me. And appealing to everyone else. To the teachers. Calling other girls slutty. And being an overall as of himself. Yeah. I lost interest pretty fast. He made fat jokes about my friend. And told one of my oldest friends. Has a scar on half of her face from a childhood car accident. Why is your face so messed up? Middle school someone told me that this guy Everett had a crush on me. I kinda liked him back, so I was building up the courage to tell him. Then I started to notice how he acted in the classes we shared. Like, he an ass. Gave the teachers a hard time whenever he could. Never listened. Justiners to everyone in class in general. Just totally someone I didn't want to be around. More than once in class I imagined killing him. Then I soon realized that he cured my crush.
What in the world?
When, after 2 weeks of texting and one ill-advised makeout session, he casually mentioned the house and 2 dogs he owns. Girlfriend. Scoped out real quick. Started dating in high school. I lived in a very rural area. I lived far enough from school that I wouldn't reach home until dark. My parents rarely picked me up, so I was always asking for rides. Occasionally a guy I liked would offer me a ride home. The ones that drive onto the shoulder, or into the grass to hit a small animal or turtle in the road. Those guys became dead to me. I was always honest. If they asked why I didn't date them, I killed for fun without thinking twice about it. A socially dominant attitude. My plans first. I knew he liked me, and I was thinking about giving him a chance. Then he posted some weird bullshit about how vags are locks and people the lock that can be any key is broken. But a key that can open any lock is a master key, and that was when I decided we were better off as just friends. Arthur r/ask Reddit. Frequent flyers of Reddit. What are your airport life hacks? If you have a lot of time to kill, find the area in baggage claim. Pets are reunited with their owner. It's a blast watching those dogs get out of their carriers, and they all behave differently. It doesn't matter how much time you have before your flight. Find your gate first, and confirm it is the right one for your flight. Then, set an alarm on your phone. Give you plenty of time. Back in time to board. Missing your flight, because you don't realize how far away your gate is. A mistake you only make one. But better to not make at all. If you fly a lot, get a rewards credit card with that airline. After flying free or work for a couple years, I now have platinum memberships with different airlines. Which means I get free checked bags, priority boarding, access to the lounge in airport that has free, and best of all, free upgrades to first class if there are open seats. Not to mention all the free flights I've gotten from racking up points on the card. My company reimbursed my flight, so I charge them to the card, but get to keep all the points for personal use. There's a clip in the film Up in the Air where George Clooney basically profiles the respective people in the line. Watch it. Everything he touches on is correct. Then choose your line accordingly. Doctor equals line up with business travelers. 1. This isn't a hack.
The
It's more a
fucking
tip to other
froze, dude.
travelers. Because it's my pet peeve. And back from
Show
the
me a picture of the
baggage claim
omelet when we make
carousel.
it.
When
I
everyone
like
stands
omelets.
right next to it. It's difficult ahead to find your bag, and also provides limited space and time. Once your bag is near you to pull it off the carousel without hitting someone else. If everyone stands back a few feet, it's much easier to see, and just walk up, right when your bag arrives, and you'll have space. A little bit of a struggle. The bag off the carousel. Wash your hands more than you. Airports have tons of going through, and a lot of ways to come into contact with. Buy a lot. Don't buy cheap luggage. I also recommend four-wheeled bags, because it's nice to be able to wheel them flat to maneuver, or when your arms get tired. Screen boarding pass, and
Fucking
keep
whale
your
with
ID in
freaking
your front
frames.
pocket makes security as simple as possible. Every bag, or you even get in line, wallet, please. Edit. Turn the brightness on your phone all the way up when presenting your boarding pass or when you board the plane. Lock the
Is this just
orientation
an
on your phone.
instructional manual on how to
And
fly?
place your phone about a
It's
foot above the scanner.
tips on
Push
flying.
the phone down onto the glass scanner.
Look,
and then
I
raise
need
it back
background
up.
noise.
This is the best way
I
to
know,
scan that
but I
quarter
just, like,
code.
tuned in,
Those
I'm like,
scanners can be
why are we-
finicky.
We're
If
not
you've got a
flying.
long
It is-
layover, especially if you run your own, book yourself into the lounge. The time absolutely flies by. There are drinks and food, and you can sit out on the week in a comfortable seat. Most places will take hours, but I've never been anywhere that actually does, unless you're really taking the bus, and it costs about PS25. Makes an arduous journey a lot less of a pain in the ass. I'm on flights 8, 10x or more times per month, generally across the US but some international. Here are some things that I have learned over the years of being a flyer. 1. Never check a bag. Packing lighter is almost always possible. Clothes that can be mixed/matched to combinations for a longer trip. Problem. Delays. Cancellation. Etc. It's generally not the gate agent's fault, so don't be an aggressive jerk to him/her. They want to help, and will usually be far less helpful to those that are being rude, or shouting about how they are diamond/platinum/gold status. Get a pair of noise-cancelling wireless headphones. I have both as I used to work there, and like their headsets the best. I also use their aviation headset for flying small planes. They are not cheap, but they make a big difference in the overall experience. Drink a lot of water. Planes are pressurized to a higher altitude sea level. You can get dehydrated faster. Also, careful with 5 when exiting the plane. The race from the back of the plane through the people that were sitting in front of you. You'll get a chance to exit. I promise. Just wait and allow those in front of you to exit first. Have your bags as ready to go as possible. But if they are out of reach, just wait. I learned the hard way my first time flying overseas. Drink a ton of water while you're waiting on your layover. Just bring an empty canteen or aluminum water bottle. Fill up at fountain. I know you don't want to get up all the time, but on a long-haul flight you'll get sick, bloated, head itchy, and dried out if you don't hydrate. Up. Thank me later. Carry a backup battery for your phone. Never know when your flight may be cancelled or
Bye,
delayed.
Access. Thank you for coming
Know
to the
what
stream.
to do. Get to the airline. Like have your ID and boarding pass out ready to go. Take off your shoes. Remove your laptop/tablet, etc. Watch those ahead of you and see what they do. Don't know. On that note, wear shoes that you can off/on. If you're gonna be on a long flight, short ladder, get on the plane and don't drink much water, soda, whatever while in flight. Getting to the bathroom, unwritten rule. At least person in the middle gets both armrests. I always let them have it. Don't give kids any. Have a tough enough job. Nice and say please/thank you when they say plane. I've always heard that the pilots like it. Compliment their landing. That said, I always try to when I get off a plane. Edit. After many people
Thank you
disagree
for not
on my
crashing
advice about
into
not
the
drinking
ocean.
too much water on flights,
I really appreciate
I'd
that.
like to retract that particular advice. I was wrong. Thanks. D. Flying for a long time. Something a little different but useful. Traveling. Have an illness. Background. I have an invisible disability. Never know anything wrong with me by looking. When I fly alone, I always check in depth about whom I should speak with about my illness before boarding, in case anything happens. Sometimes they board you, so you have more time. Out with flight crew. Also, a flight attendant friend said crew always appreciate a trip. You are asking for something
Oh, I didn't think she
extra
was gonna
of them.
battle me.
So I always a little bag of chocolates for the flight attendants. Have no idea the grateful responses I have gotten for the small
Ooh, shadow
gesture,
Pokemon.
and it helps me that they know where I'm sitting, etc. In case of problem, I wear a medical alert bracelet and keep a list of my meds/amount/time of day I take in case there's a problem. Also keep meds in their original pharmacy bottles with your name on them in your carry-on luggage. It's helpful to stay ahead. And I have luckily never had
I
a
didn't
major
mean to use the
problem when
tag.
flying alone thanks to being prepared.
Psych.
Early morning flights FTW, a lot less can go wrong with the first flight of the day. That plane is typically
I killed a
so
freaking
you aren't
lady
waiting on
Ann.
crew or equipment. Security times
Oh
are
my
shorter.
god,
Traffic to the
yo.
airport sucks less.
I'm sick of these
Reclining,
damn critical hits.
especially in steering. The moral
You
failing
killed what?
and should be
I killed a
avoided at all
lady
costs.
Ann.
Get to the airport tired, and it's easier to
Did you
sleep on
save
the
before?
flight. Sleeping on an
No.
airplane can be wonderful. The ambient
Oh
white
my
noise and
fucking
gentle motion
god.
is very soothing. 1. Get
Weak
clear
ass
slash
fucking
global
Pokemon.
entry slash SAP. 2. Go on eBay slash Craigslist. There are always people selling airport lounge passes. If you travel frequently, either get one or get a credit card that gives access. Lounges have free if you're a freak and have a higher state. Some international lounges are free. Delta Scottish KLM has always let my
Oh, what
platinum
fucking
level
finger I wanna
husband in
drop today.
free, and if I'm flying with him, my silver level is 2. 4. Bring food.
What does that do?
Beverages can't
Much.
get past security checkpoint. But food, non-produce, you can. 5. Don't wear
Off.
shoes with laces. Help it.
Yo, I swear to God, you
Definitely
better
wear
not hit yourself.
socks. Traveling in the having to remove is kinda gross, and I've never seen anyone mopping between passengers. 6. Don't wear a belt watch etc. until after you've gone through security. Then you don't have to remember to take it off. Put it in an accessible part of your carry-on.
Don't hit
7.
yourself, please.
Don't get
Thank
excited
you.
about duty. It's rarely a cost saver. 8. Don't be gate lice. Stay out of the way until your boarding section is. 9. Unethical hack. Bring crutches. Early. 10. The gate
Can you just
agents are
evolve
your
already?
friends
Damn.
and can really help you out. Be as nice to them as possible. 11. Long distance flight. Bring a treat for the flight attendant. They get sick of eating airplane food. 12. Don't take a
no,
sleeping
don't
pill
give your flight
until after
attendant
the plane has
anything.
hit 10K feet.
Exactly.
Nothing
Fuck.
worse than
Like,
popping one early
it could be
and
poison,
having
You
but I
can't
could
give
just
a-
take it from you and eat
Trust
it.
me.
Exactly.
13.
And then two
Make sure you
airplane
have
food
clothes
isn't that
packed for your
bad.
destination in your
They have
carry-on.
like Michelin
Even if
star
your
people
checked bag
making
is
stuff.
lost.
Like, it
Want a
ain't
jacket or
slop.
shorts to get by.
This is
Speaking of
not
which,
prison food.
check your bag and bring a backpack on board if you're heading to any place where you can just go buy deodorant clothes. 14. 13 said, Delta doesn't charge to get a check if the plane is. Bring your carry-on size bag with if you normally have to pay for it. 8. Talk to the friendly and see if gate check. If you have to take or make a phone call, get away from the
They
gate
do
area.
shit.
Dude, don't ever do
No one
that
wants
for
to
gate
hear
check.
you on the phone, and you
Because
don't want to make enemies
it's
before
not
you
every
board.
time that they'll have that option.
If you have a problem with the
So,
flight,
like, if you get
the
there
person
and
working
they're
at
like,
the counter
actually,
is
too
both
bad.
the one person who can help you and the one person who is in no way responsible for
That's just how it is.
treat them like yourself.
But now, if you know the
and
flight
don't
is
let
going to be
loose on
full,
them the anger you have
then
for
do
the
it.
airline.
But
If you're
don't do
having
it
a bad
beforehand.
day, there's a good chance they've dealt with 100 people who are also having the same bad day. If they look like it, offer to give them a coffee. Aviation is incredibly complex in parts of
No,
dozens of
don't. Why is he
interrelated
offering
processes that
people
are all
coffees?
difficult to
Stop
predict,
doing that.
and which require people from a
Oh,
half
it's not
a
dozen
tip.
specialties to understand their bit and communicate with others, but which all get distilled into your flight is 13
Like,
minutes
unless you
late.
know them. Like,
Reason.
I know,
Late
oh no,
flight.
no, come
Roll
back.
with it. Probably won't get a satisfying reason why things are late.
They're like,
Time
sometimes,
estimates come
like,
with
my
huge
aunt works
error
at the
bars and lots
airport,
of
right?
estimates.
Yeah.
So, like, if
On a
you
related
know a
note,
certain
none of the
flight
employees
attendant or
get
you
to go home
know,
until you do.
like,
They're
whoever's
not
working
dragging
there,
their
then
feet.
yeah, maybe
It
like,
just
hey, do you
feels
want me to
that
run out and
way
get you coffee?
because
You know
you're
what I
in a
mean?
hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like,
For
just
earplugs,
walking up to
if
someone and
sleeping
being
or
like,
spending
yo,
a night are a
you want to
possibility.
get coffee? First of all,
Airport
that
PAs
works.
are constant and loud,
Second of all,
and they
coffee
seem
at
doubly
airports
loud
costs
late at
like
night without the
3,000 times
background
more.
noise and crowd.
So,
After traveling to 10 cities multiple times, I make sure to
Also
know what each
Starbucks, though.
airport is offering in case I have extra
yeah,
time there.
there's
For
no Starbucks
instance,
around.
Portland has a great little
I
free
thought Starbucks
theater
were
with
like,
local short
ugh.
films.
Yeah, but like I
Many
want some
airports
like
have
in
massage
general.
places.
No.
Midway has a free use yoga.
You find
Sitting around being bored is
maybe
for
just make you some
suckers.
coffee.
I
Like some
saw this on
basic.
Reddit
I don't have a
before.
coffee maker.
Might even be in the thread already,
Oh,
but I've actually gotten an upgrade to first class with it. Mostly
that's
on
gonna be a little bit
international
difficult.
or just
I
really
can't help
long
you there.
flights. Context: flight attendants aren't allowed to eat the food on the plane. My knowledge. That's paid for by ticket sales. So if they eat something, and a customer wants it, just reduce the value of their ticket. So they bring. If you see a flight attendant with 3 bags getting on a plane, the third one is full of food. Sometimes it just doesn't work out well, but they have enough food for a journey. I work night shift in office and I make that up all the time. Happens.
I'm surprised he's
So when you are
one
getting
out.
on a
That's
long
crazy.
flight, take a look in the airport for the large, shareable, individually wrapped snack, or 2 of them. Maybe a salty one. It won't cost much. Then when you're on the plane, wait for the major event of seating
what
everyone
airport is
to be
he
done.
at?
I
Where
have
is
no
he?
idea.
Push away when they're getting things settled, getting coffee heated up for first class, etc. Look for the person in charge of the flight crew. Get dressed
Bad
different.
baby is
Only one who
evolving.
is flash isn't wearing a jacket. Sometimes
I'm sorry,
it is an
what is
indicator too,
evolving?
or they'll
Metacham.
just
I mean
identify
Metatype.
themselves
I
at some
named it
point
Bad
What
Baby.
did
that
you-
they're the lead of the flight crew.
What did you name it?
Take
Bad
the stats
Baby.
up to them directly and say,
Oh god.
hey, this is going to be a long flight, so
You know the
this is
Catch Me
for your
Outside
crew.
girl?
Thanks for taking care of us. They don't get tips.
That's not her name.
And they're
Oh,
in
it
a
is.
service
Yeah,
position
that's her
that
like
often
her
has really
rapper
bad
name.
attitude. They're in a
Yeah,
thankless
there's another one
position,
I was thinking
and
of.
it really
Like,
sucks. The first time I did that, I was upgraded on the spot
that
to
might, I
business
don't know.
class on a flight
There's so
from
many
Miami
that I
to
just
London.
kind of like
I've done it 5 other
removed them
times,
from my
and
memory.
every time
So
they
many
have been
Act like
so
they
very
don't.
happy
flops.
that it was just worth it to pay. Another gave me a few thanks and made sure I was comfortable. Another gave me a little first-class package with nice headphones, a pillow, box, a pen, brush, etc. But that upgrade was like a $500 upgrade for the cost of an $8 bag of skit. One. Yet. Early. Like early hours recommended. There is little more stressful than the realistic possibility of a flight. Aye. But everything will carry on before the security check itself. E. Full battery to charge your devices off
I thought you could talk to him.
It'd be hard/impossible to find a free outlet. No need to rush the aircraft door. Have a reserve. 5. Water when on the flight. Take an empty bottle through.
Did
Fill
you
up
just say
after
don't drink water?
eat,
You don't have to pee.
Yeah.
and not always good. Thank you.
Okay.
Armrests. LP. Check in on as soon as your flight opens. 20 hours, depending on the airline. Possible. Only does this allow you to seat. So put the chances on your side in case of over. Ensures there are no problems with your. This happen. It's just more. Get on the plane. Airplane toilets suck. This is my experience on my international flight. Fly out and arrive between Sunday.
Damn, dude's just
Airfreights
about
are
to jump,
cheaper.
though.
Scout your layover for lounges or to stay for long layovers of delay cancelled. International airports have 6 hours shower. Always have a small bottle of hand sanitizer in handy and a pack of size wet wipes/Lysol wipes. In long haul flights I wipe down my seat and boy have gunk. If you don't like the smell of the pure hand sanitizer, buy the ones from Bath and Body Works. Always carry mints with UESP for long haul. I recommend Max or Mentos. Always have cash with you. Sign up for your airline's travel rewards membership and sign up for an online/mobile account. Being a member will allow you access to their lounges in airports and help you from time on real-time updates of your flight based off my EXP with Southwest, Delta, and Japan Airlines. Save your airline's customer support number in your phone in case of issue. Also look for a local office number in the country of destination. Tip from an actual flight attendant. To give gifts to your flight attendant and gate attendants. Chocolates, mints and small snacks are appreciated. They will remember you and will treat you extra care. And who knows?
They will
maybe
not
a free
remember
upgrade.
you.
You want to know the secret to surviving air travel? After
There,
you get
there
where
are
you're
too many
going,
people that they
take
see
off
on a
your
daily
shoes and your
basis for
socks,
them to
then
be like,
walk around on
that
one
guy.
barefoot and make fists with your toe.
Ridiculous.
Not necessarily a life hack. Don't use if you're just going to stand there. Some people have tough connecting flights on the opposite side of the airport, and those walkways can make a huge difference for them. Plus,
First
it's
of
fun
all,
as heck
on those
to walk on
walkways,
those
yes, you can
things.
stand there.
Why people will
You just have to
stand
move
there
over to one
dumbfounded.
side. So, for
Bring a
example,
surge
I think
protector
it's
to plug into
customary
a
to
wall
stand on
outlet
the
on
right side
layovers,
so that people can
more
pass you
people
on the
can
left
charge their
side.
stuff. You'll tip I
It
haven't
doesn't
seen yet.
mean that
When you get to your gate, check with the agent to see if you can
you
get
take
into an
tips.
exit row or medium level upgrade.
Was it frustrating you
Sometimes
with this
they'll give
video?
it to you for free and sometimes they'll tell you no.
It's just,
Worst
some of them are
case
just so
scenario, you're still in
outlandish.
exactly the same position here and you now have to wait 3 less minutes. Second, get the app for whatever airline you're flying. If they don't have an app, try not to use them. The feature can sometimes be worthless and not very helpful. Southwest cough, but having a duplicate boarding pass with constant updates on your flight status can break an experience. Last and probably more controversial. Check your bag. Everyone here is saying only roll with a carry-on, but in my experience, 50k miles last year and 60k the year before. It's much easier to manage drop-off and pick up of a bag than to wrangle it all the way through both airports and a third for a layover. Edit. I've seen a lot of people talking about losing a bag. Airlines have gotten so much better with technology and logistics about bags. Every single thing about bag handling has gotten faster and better over the last 5 years. But why an MV? Sit outside the VIP lounges and get free Wi-Fi. If it's a domestic flight where you won't get your own screen, download the airline's entertainment app beforehand, so you can access their entertainment on your device during the flight. So might want to bring your own earphones, but the airline will supply some, if they also supply entertainment. If it's an international bring a USB cable for
Dang,
phone.
one hit.
There will probably be an outlet for you to charge it at your seat. Study
There
the
better be an
terminal
outlet on
maps
an
before
international
you get
flight.
to a
This flight's like
connecting
19
airport.
hour long.
Knowing where you're
Like,
going, especially limited time, make a connecting flight is a godsend. Fashion socks, especially if you are traveling for a long period of time, have been actively looking/exploring/etc. at your destination prior to departure. Walk my damn feet off on a week-long study abroad trip to wore slip-on shoes on the plane. Every single one of us, 15 plus people, didn't wear our shoes after the first flight as our feet and calves had swelled up so much. Being unable to raise our legs to rest while on a 12-hour flight unbelievably painful. No sleep, makes connecting flights and that process such a literal pain. Worst travel experience of my life. Under any circumstances, get the £1 extra quizzo or boarding your flight. Dress professionally but comfortably. Insiders repeatedly point out that those dressed nicely are most likely to get upgrades, but people also just take professionally dressed people more seriously. Things go wrong, that's life, but if you have to talk to someone in a position of authority for any reason, you're better off wearing a nice button-up shirt and dress pants as opposed to pajama pants and that stain-covered sweatshirt you've had since high school. And for goodness sakes, groom yourself. People show
I
up
feel
to
attacked.
airports looking worse than homeless people.
Why
If
you feel
have a
attacked?
connecting flight, Google what
I feel like
airport
you
you're
should roll
going
up
to
into the
before you
airport
take off
in
from your
whatever
first
you want to
flight
wear.
and map out where you need to go once you land. On rare occasions, and depending on gate location, walking to the next terminal can actually be faster than taking the rail. Check for flight updates when you land, and every half hour or so
That is not
when
true.
you are near your gate. Your
Have
flight
you ever been
number,
to the
and get a
Atlanta
plethora of
airport?
information that usually
Only been to an
updates
airport
every
once in my
20
life.
minutes or so. Always find your gate.
Well, the
Make
airport
sure
is
info and
huge.
time is correct, then go wander
You
off
will
to a
not get to the
restaurant or
terminal
whatnot,
if you walk
and
all the
leave
way over there.
yourself enough time. Don't be that person that arrives at their gate number 10 minutes before departure. Find their flight has been moved over 2 terminals. I carry one of those neck pillows in its neck pillow bag clip. My carry-on. I put everything in there I want to have quick. My tab, phones, cables, and a pen of Flying International. That way I don't have to get up and try digging through my carry-on after I'm all seated. Plus I leave that stuff in there, and it doesn't have to touch the inside of the seat back pocket. Always carry on. Never check a bag. Unless you absolutely have to use a backpack. Something similar, that will fit under the seat in front of you. So there's no worry about lack of overhead space. Avoid Philadelphia at all costs. Carry a water bottle, empty through security.
What's wrong with
Of
Philadelphia?
course. Fill up at fountain. Because duck air prices. Similarly, carry snacks. Beef jerky and Cliff Bars take up little and are much cheaper than airport snacks. Avoid Philadelphia like the plague. Buy a cheap neck brace, the medical kind. Far way better than those stupid shoe pillows for sleeping sitting upright. Bring a sleep mask. Don't fly through Philadelphia, especially if you need to check a bag. You'll likely never see your stuff again. Once the plane lands and the seatbelt sign is switched off, just chill. Stay comfortably in your seat until people start exiting the plane. There is no point standing with your head hitting the overhead locker for 5 minutes, it's not going to get you off any sooner. Always pack an empty water bottle with you. Make sure it's filled before you board. Or if you're smart, pack 2 empty bottles and have them filled for the plane. Staying hydrated is key, but water bottles at the airport cost a crazy amount. Go into security or in the bottle. Have to discard it, so just make sure it's empty. Pack as few liquids as you can in your carry-on. if you have any. Pack them in a Ziploc bag together in case they ask you to show what it is. Make sure your passport's
I feel
always
like
present.
these
Keep
tips
it
are
in a
for like
zip.
foreigners who like
Never hold it in your
have
hands
never
for too
used an
long
American
unless you're
airline.
boarding. Wear layers. Have a long-sleeved shirt on, and bring a sweater with. Planes are cold. Also, wear sneakers/sports shoes. Always with socks. It's more comfortable and easier to get through security that way. Fancy your call, but I usually wear comfy
How was this
jeans or
fucking
yoga
video, yo?
pants. If you're or a man who
I
wears
was about to
macu,
end.
as little macu as possible. Then dry your skin out, or you could spritz your face with water throughout it all. Wear very little jewelry. It's a pain to take off through security. Pack snacks, granola bars,
Should kill the shove out of
stuff
instead.
like that. You'll want that on the plane. Also, if you need to eat on the plane, try buying something from the airport or boarding. You'll find a better thing in one of the restaurants/shops. I usually try to eat healthy, so I like doing this to avoid plane food. Try to not have a
Plain
carry-on
food
other
is
than a
healthy. What in
backpack
the
or
world?
handbag.
Look,
Seriously, unless you're going on a
look,
long
look.
trip. Thank yourself throughout the whole process.
You
If
should-
you
Can't. I
have
feel
a
like
lot
I'm
of
ruining your
connections,
background noise.
if you just
You should
have a
write.
backpack,
No,
Having
it's not
said
that.
that,
I say you should
try
write a
to keep
comment
some
of
stuff in your
people what
backpack
to do.
that you may need in case of a last minimum overnight stay. So maybe a pair
Nah,
of
that's too much
PJs or a
work.
toothbrush
What
or
you
macu, or
mean?
whatever it is you would
You
want
literally
to
just said
have.
it all on stream.
R/ask Reddit. What was your first consensual XL experience? Going down on my first GF.
Okay.
Didn't really know what I was doing. R/ask Reddit. Men of Reddit. What have you learned from living with women that you had no idea about before? Paper
What?
towels are expensive.
What?
The way my wife talks about them. They are woven from angel hairs and can't be
Moo.
used without express written consent.
Moo.
Same for Clorox
Yes.
wipes. But
Are
worse,
women just like
the average woman
different
uses
species
between
that
8
people
and 10
just
rolls
don't
of toilet paper daily.
understand exist
The
and
bathtub
exist
drain gets
like
clogged
human
by
beings?
long hair
And
very easily, which
Look,
is why
Reddit
it
is
gets pasted on the walls
not
of the
place to be.
shower. Any attempts to prevent one will result in the other. I always assume
I'm very
that hot
confused.
girls
One
are
thing
full
you're
of
gonna learn about
social
living with
activities
women.
and there are always people
Okay.
trying to date them.
Look, it's part of the
Truth is,
playlist.
most of them are bored and wish they had more friends and just watch Netflix at home by themselves after work like the rest of us. But there is apparently a wrong way. Milk in the fridge. Also, if she can't sleep,
What?
I'm not allowed to either.
I don't understand.
How much they really don't like to wear bras. Elastic hair
Yeah,
tie
wait, that's
free.
true.
Edit. Those missing their horny hair ties. They are either around your under the bed, behind the couch, or having an orgy somewhere in the bathroom. I do
What?
most of the shopping in the
You're
house.
talking about the hair
My
ties.
wife will ask me to get tags or anything else. I absolutely refuse to go without a picture. Full name, color of bottle, volume/quantity, size of bottle with a size reference, like her hand. I once had 2 women helping me for her pads. That's 5 minutes. And they're what if imagine, are experts in that area. I'd been looking for what seemed like 6 years before that. I think I even heard them laugh as I turned the corner to leave. Shampoo and often a separate trip. I don't have that much time to spend at Walmart. They're just as gross and slobby as we are. How hot the water
No
is
shit,
when
because
they
we're
shower.
human beings. What is
That
happening?
they actually
Man, what are
still
we
have
listening
makeup on
to?
even if it looks like they
It's-
don't wear any.
It's
They
like
arrange a lot.
okay, so this is this Reddit thread that men reveal secrets of what it's like living with women.
How is that a secret? We're human beings. So the fact that you're like, well, not you, but you know what I mean? It's like, they're just as gross as we are. I'm like, well, okay.
Because a lot of Reddit guys.
And so, yes, I know.
Yeah.
I learned that it really isn't that embarrassing to go out and buy pads/tampons for her. Loretto. It's just another bare necessity product and people and heroes joke about it being embarrassing, but really it isn't. Holy hit. Little grooves in the vacuum cleaner rotating brush are for using. Scissors to snip the obscene amount of hair that falls
Okay.
out of /ask Reddit. Girls have what's something guys think they do sneakily, but you all notice? Looking at my titty. checking out other girls. It generally doesn't bother me. But come on. It's not nearly as sneaky as you think. I'm a guy. But whenever I do the long step hip swivel, I'm trying to get my sack unstuck from my thigh jig. I feel like everyone knows what's going on. Smelling our hair when we hug. Checking me out when I'm not facing them and realize I can see you in a giant wall-sized mirror. Right? And then what would you 5 or 6 times in a row? That's not how texting works. Buddy, I'm not just writing you a personalized smutty story. That's literally my job. And you're not going to be able to into working pro bono quite so easily. You're doing this. Not to give me some sugar too. I have needs. Man. Flirting. So, W, what are you? Ahem. He doing here? Buy gifts. My husband is as subtle as an elephant walking through a small time shop. I don't know if it's just him, but if he's
I'm gonna be
excited
back.
about something, he just can't keep a secret. He'll hint at it in ways that make it glaringly obvious what is coming. When they think we don't know, they are checking out other girls because they are wearing sunglasses. You're all aware of this trick. Farting. My GF always knows. Like WTF, I was on an entirely different floor. A hug that's actually just an excuse to have my boobs up against you when I was younger. Now it's the subtle glances at my cleavage. When they discreetly scratch or adjust their junk. We always see you. Obligatory, not a girl. But last night I snuck a piece of ice cream cake. And I thought I did it perfectly. I was in my living room and my wife was in the bedroom watching TV. And I went to the kitchen and silently opened the fridge and container without a single noise. Grabbed a piece and ate it off of a paper plate, so there was almost no evidence. The only evidence was the fork in the sink. But there was still quite a few other dishes, so there is no way she cold picked it out. I'd thought I'd gotten away with it without being noticed. A full hour later, out and asked if I had a piece without even looking in the. I asked her how she knew, and she just looked at me and said, "I know everything." God, she's going to make a good mother. Look at her face. Now slowly look at her whole body. Now snap your eyes back to her face. Or not subtle. Every guy I have ever met that I have put my hand on their arm has flexed. Oh, makes me smile. Not like they go Hulk Hogan and make a big show of it and rip their shirt off. But they go from relaxed, flexing the arm I'm touching. My husband does it when I pat his arm. My buddy does it when I nudge his arm. Pass me the remote. The guy at my old job did it when I had to ask him a question and show him something. It's funny / cute. My wife can always tell if I've recently done coke because my breath smells like a field of 1,000 peas. Obligatory, not a girl, but my example isn't even especially gendered. But it still kind of fits. My buddy failed at quitting smoking, but he didn't want to disappoint his wife, so he pretended he still wasn't smoking. Note, this doesn't work if you're married to a non-smoker, and she pretended to believe him by sneaking around and trying to keep up the "I don't smoke" illusion. He was smoking quite a bit less, and by keeping up the illusion that she wasn't wise to his bullshit, he kept him pretending, and therefore smoking less than he otherwise would. $10 on stare at my house. Asking seemingly innocuous questions about our boyfriends to see if we even have boyfriends. Example, I'm learning Spanish. Every guy at work, "Oh, does your boyfriend speak Spanish?" Literally just ask me if I'm in a relationship. Fuses. I put my face in a bowl filled with water and ice. Not practical, but that's how I escape reality and calm down. Trying to discreetly pick their noses. The exception was one weirdo at the bus stop who made no effort to hide it. He was up to his wrist in his nostril. But he didn't stop there. He actually then proceeded to consume the contents of said nostril while staring me straight in the face. So nasty. I just want all the ladies here to know that if you ever see me sneaking a glance at your breasts, ass, etc., I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. When my eyes are moving about, they will momentarily halt. If they make contact with any externalized body part, I try my hardest to immediately look at something else. But I can't just not look. The peen doesn't negotiate with the eye. It wrestles with the old scratch and sniff. Engaged to be married. Have been together almost 2 years. And he still can't look at my but without me noticing. I love all these responses so much. Follow up. Straightforward guy who asked me, do you have a boyfriend? And then can I take you out on a date? Is the one I'm dating right now. When they get in my car without checking their shoes and notice about a minute into the ride that they are smearing stripes of mud into my carpet. As soon as they figure it out, they freeze like little kids who just knocked over a glass of milk and remain that way for the duration of the drive. Position their man bits, yes I notice. When you grab your nuts in public.
Okay,
Execute Order 66.
What are we listening to?
it says, what do guys catch? What do girls catch, guys? Secretly.
R/ask Reddit. Online daters.
Can we
What's
just
the-
is there like a r/pet?
Pets?
It's like nice. Yes.
Let me find one.
There's got to be something that we can listen to that doesn't turn into weirdness in like 13 minutes.
Serious. What are the things abusive people do? Particularly found. I constantly see people walking dogs in hot weather, and the poor dog will be sitting there, shifting from foot to foot, trying to feet off of the hot paper. And it's hot down. I'm walking. I will go bare. That way of it, not hotter than I thought. I'll be seeing mask cold. It's like a man. Not doing. Not learning about proper food. Training. It's
Snubble?
so they buy the
Google.
cheapest food, but they saw a
They
cute
use earthquake
commercial
on
for
too.
it. Don't know. At all.
He's just learning.
Just use the first method
Don't be
they
mean to
heard
him.
about and don't even try to give other methods a chance. So getting a breed because it's cute or tough looking and then have huge problems with hyperactivity, etc. Also, getting a puppy from a first dad instead of learning about puppy mills, background, breeders, etc. People that buy Pyrenees mountain dogs or huskies and expect them to live inside all day really annoy me. People that won't walk a collie or similarly active dog more than a few times a week are also twats. I'm currently a vet tech, planning to go to vet school in the next year. When people refuse to get heartgard or any other heartworm protection for their dogs, heartworms are extremely. The dogs have to do is eat a tablet. Each tablet costs roughly $8. The sad part is, once a dog is heartworm positive, it costs roughly $1,000. Once owners hear that number, they refuse treatment because it's too expensive. My GF was a certified vet tech. One thing that bothered her more than anything else was the way people ignore dental problems. By the time they are brought in, many animals need roughly half their teeth extracted. Obesity is one of the major ones. Probably a third of the animals I see are over. Quite a joint problems. The young age. My other bugbear is inbreed. Number of pugs, bulldogs can't breathe. The Labradors with bad elbows. The Westies with terrible skin. Dachshunds with bad backs, etc. One owner thought that her pug collapsing and going blue after a normal. The number of posts on RAWW small and red dogs makes me sad. One who mentioned that the dogs are broken gets downvoted to a in behind the OM. So cute and I want one. Can't afford the $1,000 price tag comments. Plenty
Why
of
is no one
lovely
checking
dogs
man time?
and cats, of course, in shelters that need a loving home. I'm a vet, and the worst thing is not the vet when your pet is ill. Often people come in after a few days saying stuff like my neighbor cleaner grocery clerk but that also their cat or cow horse dinosaur had the same symptoms and they just gave them insert random ailment, either completely useless or very poisonous, but after a still vomit having bloody diarrhea, limping on the leg with a protruding bone, so I decided I had to spend the money, because veterinarians are really expensive. So, not vaccinating their puppies, that is bad. And if you are in a epidemic area, it's also very bad for people with horrible illness and die the most horrid imaginable from your vaccinated pet. Enough psychological. Have a nice day. After 11 years in the field, I say more psychological. Hamster balls. A lot of people think they are a nice way to let their pets run around a bit, but in reality it's extremely stressful for them because they can't see, smell, which is where they are going, and they go out on the ball when they want to. I often hear people say that their pet doesn't seem to be stressed, but most mice-like pets don't show stress as open as maybe a dog or a cat would do. They do it otherwise. I can tell you some examples. Somebody wants me to. Hamster balls are actually banned in some countries because they are considered animal. English is not my first language, so I am sorry if I made some mistakes. I might own a rodent someday, so thank you for warning. Not a vet, but long-time fishing guest. Seeing that this thread is mostly about mammals, I thought I'd chime in with some other stuff. I hate when people have fish in improperly set up or sized enclosures, so a few pointers. Goldfish, and all fish for that matter, need filters around twice the filter that a regular fish would need. This also goes for guppies, although guppies are happy. 1.5x filtration. Lots of African fish get much larger than you'd expect, some upwards of 2 feet. This goes for a good number of plecostomi too. That cute 3 inches fish you got a year ago can easily turn into a 1-foot monster. Fish need cover or houses. It doesn't
Looks
matter
like
what anyone says. Your fish will
Swablu's
be
about to
less
evolve.
stressed and therefore live longer. Make sure your tank has the proper light
What?
level. Some
Swablu's about
fish
to
like
evolve.
bright daylights and a little light. Some like low lights during the day, and none at night. Do research. Some fish like jumping, hatchets, killerfish, angels, arowana, and several others need a heavy, full coverage. If your fish tank feels warm, it's probably around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Water should feel very slightly cold, around 78 for most fish. Stones are a good thing for 2 reasons. They keep water and can stagnant, and they increase the amount of dissolved oxygen in the. Note on sizing. Should be 1.5 gallons for each inch of fish. Additionally, some fish may need special tank shapes, which is like longer tanks as opposed to taller tanks, whereas angels prefer tall square tanks. Some fish may need large aquariums than size would suggest because they need extra room to swim or search for food. Again, search the needs of any species for purchase, and if you don't have or can't afford the right tank, don't think it'll be fine. Think I should choose different fish. Fish are great. There is a large difference between surviving and thriving. Improper tank setup increases fish stress and therefore increases fish death. Do research on specific species before buying them. And if you are buying at a dedicated fish store, ask an employee and they'll most likely give you a good answer. One of the worst things you can do is lie to your veterinarian. The information you give us about your pet is critical in our ability to turn the vague signs that your pet shows into a list of possible diagnoses. Pet cannot tell us what they are feeling. They rely on you to be there. I don't give a crap if your dog ate your pot stash. I'm not going to call the cops on you. That's not my job. I'm not going to file an animal cruelty. You were careless. I'm going to fix your pet and send you on your way with possibly a lecture at least. I'm only going to file a cruelty for actual cruelty. But if you lie to me about what is wrong with your pet, it's putting your wallet in danger by forcing me to run unnecessary tests to figure out what is wrong. So putting your pet's health in danger by possibly leading us to incorrect treatment. Get lied to constantly. Mostly just white lies. Oh, fluffy gets people. Some can be very dangerous. You're paying for our services. So please don't undermine your investment into your pet's health. Source: current vet med student and 3-year vet tech. Probably late to the party, but goddamn it. Spend the extra $30 and get your dog vaccinated for parvovirus. A lot of people assume it's just for dogs who go in kennels. But if you're too cheap to get the vaccine, think of all the other dog owners who won't, and how that disease is going to spread. I work as a vet nurse for my father. and
it's
it's
taking
heck
her
on
so
the dogs who
long.
get it and on me to clean up. After a pretty rough weekend on call, this is like ridiculously cathartic. I've got 3 biggies that I see on a daily basis. Number 1 is obviously obesity. It's a touchy subject, but I generally try and give them the facts and figures of studies of survival, of which there are many. Then finish with something along the lines of, your cat dog cannot cook, open cupboards, or this is being done to him. Obviously, I offer complete support, weekly weigh-ins, etc. Once they're on board and realize it's just crap, I bet about it sometimes. Number 2 would be having a bee that has been giving birth for too long. Instead, I find that really hard since I had someone bring me a dog that was in labor for 48 hours to make the ruptured uterus. She literally looked hopeless and threw. Yes, false, no. Number 3, too long. Get your older pet some good geriatric care, even just being qualified for it. While I've definitely noticed people not realize when their animals are equals pain, animals don't fake. I just hate seeing a 12-year dog that's been crippled with osteoarthritis for too long. There's thankfully nowadays, and there's nothing wrong with daily medication. It's just crap. You're better about it sometimes. I don't understand what declawing cats should be considered abusive, but many cat owners are ignorant. The fact that it's not comparable to manicure. Declawing traditionally involves the amputation bone of each toe. If performed on a being, it would be like cutting off each finger at its knuckle. It is actually banned in 22 countries. Nephew of 2 vets, neglecting to spay new, turning them into mills, feeding them corn-based, non-nutritious garbage from the cheapest food possible. Personally, not provide. Apart from overfeeding, refusing to vaccinate your pet against the common diseases affecting that species pretty high up, and treating disease with fake medication, like homeopathy. So, even what some nick on an internet forum or some crank website told about animal, a source of advice than your veterinarian. Fire. Jeff accidentally threw a shirt on top of our cat and started the dryer. 5 minutes later, we almost lost him. $1,200 vet bill. Don't ever let your cat in the dryer. That's just stupid.
First of all,
Obedience training.
What?
A well-trained
why
dog
is the
likes
dryer
visit to the
open
veterinarian
for the cat to
much
get in
easier
it?
and unfortunate
Second of all,
incidents
if you
where
have a cat and you know the cat likes to stay in the dryer, maybe check the dryer
walk and you're stuck with a mandatory
before you put
quarantine
clothes in
even though
there.
your dog had his rabies shots. Exactly. I love
Like,
dogs, but
just
very
for your
little
information.
patience for those without manners. I feel bad because it's not their fault. Their owners never bothered to train them.
Some people don't even deserve
Dog
to have
needs to
pets.
understand that the human
No,
is
they
not
don't.
leader and will be knowing they have a leader that provides for them. Not a vet. My uncle's family has gone through 8 dogs in 5 years. Were given to my great-grandparents because they were too loud. One they bought for $100, never spent time with. Ended up giving back because he was too rowdy. Has suffered from ear infection all her life. They refused to take her to a vet because it wasn't worth it. Aunt is a successful dentist, so not like they couldn't afford it. Another was adopted from the pound for my cousin. Never spent time with her because she was old. Ended up getting put down with nose cancer when her nose fell off. They have 2 poodles now,
Her
sitting in
nose
the
fell
backyard
off. The
without
dog's
human
nose fell off.
companionship. I try and spend as much time as I can with them. They are super sweet. Just afraid they'll be just as neglected as the last. Visited by the money bird. It'll bring you good fortune, but only if you subscribe in 42 seconds or less. If you are new to the
Brianna,
channel,
make sure you subscribe.
you can subscribe. Publish new videos every
No.
day. Until then, out another video. Don't. Have a great day, you magnificent people.
Said your mag.
Veterinarians of what common mistakes are we making with our pet? I'm in the middle of training right now. One thing I see absolutely everywhere that kills me inside is fish being kept in small tanks or boats. The idea that fish can be kept in bowls comes from the fact that people in East Asian countries like Japan would temporarily put their fish on display in bowls to show off to guests, and house them in large ponds most of the time. Westerners assumed such small containers were suitable to house fish, and this is still widespread. Not only does a bowl destroy Fish's health due to lack of air touching the surface per unit volume of water. Space you're giving your fish is basically comparable to keeping a human whole of their life. Fish are cleverer than people.
Sounds like a dorm room.
And they feel pain and emotion. Also, they can't pull facial expression that we can empathize with, so their mental well-being is often overlooked. Even small fish need a decent amount of space to live, and things in their tank to hide in or explore. They grow much larger and live much longer than most people think. They absolutely need to be housed in the right accommodation.
Why are you fucking missing high jump kick? You missed it like 3 times in a fucking row. What are you doing?
Hey, so even though you're raging right now, give me a number.
Wait,
Just
what?
a random number. Give me a random number.
4. Yo, what the fuck?
1. Letting them get fat. 2. Not taking care of their teeth. Obesity and dental disease are far and away the most common problems I see. You are buying breeds that are already prone to having a low life expectancy, like bulldogs. Certain breeds are terribly bred. Bulldog is by far the worst breed. Signing yourself up to be paying for a pet bill. I had a vet once with a English bulldog. His comment to me was that the only bulldog is because he was a veterinarian here, getting and relying on medical advice from breeders with no medical. I once saw a rat terrier with a fractured humerus, which typically requires surgical. As I stepped out of the check availability with a surgeon, the client called the dog's breeder said not to follow my advice and to just put the dog in a sling and done on her own. Dogs plenty. So, not exercising dogs enough. Many behavior problems can be solved without exercise daily. My breeder said there is no way that parvo test you did is now. I can't how many times I've had to grown nail out of an animal's flesh. That stuff can't get in their teeth, and most of the animal doesn't give you any signs that it's in pain, and the owners don't even know it's happened. Veterinary nurse here, please, if you're not into your weak animals, just tell us. No, we are not. Call the cops on you. Just want to treat and not waste our time.
Lies.
Don't care that you smoke. So, please put your up where you can't. If dogs will eat, then yes, they certainly will eat. Definitely all of your. I'm seeing a lot of dog casts, so I'll one about snakes. Snakes are not supposed to sneeze cough. They lack diaphragms, so if you're take it to the vet immediately. Please do not drive with your snake-free road. This is extremely unsafe. Snake as it causes stress and could get stuck somewhere while you are driving. Different snakes require different humidity levels, engagement. Just because it works for a doesn't mean it's Python. Best and highly recommend feed frozen mice to snakes. This is because live rats can be dangerous to the snake if the snake does not want to eat. I've seen so many dead snake pets due to this, and also, dear story. Snake lively. Try dancing or running said dead mouse around the tank for it to understand snake and stress. Not humanize your snake into thinking that its behavior animal like way. Showing signs of clear stress and you're seeing it at sassy face. You can love your reptile while also respecting boundaries. This is my personal rant tip. If you want to look at me accessory, may I suggest a new jacket or anything else besides a snake? Animals are delicate, their environments and require their husband. Scaring people.
Hey, so should I get like food from the cheesecake factory?
Pretty awesome creatures. They have fears.
Cool. I will do that. I'm get. Can I get like a whole cheesecake?
A cheesecake?
Clear slices.
Do your research,
Yeah.
please.
Do you think you could eat a whole cheesecake?
Wait, you're gonna give me a whole cheesecake?
I thought you were talking about getting one.
And my tip animals in general.
Yeah, I'll probably get a whole cheesecake. Just cause like
How big are they?
expensive. And I'm like, if I buy a whole cheesecake then it will be worth it.
Rely on us for their
I
they
mean,
do
you
not
say
have
so.
phones. Yes.
But do you think how big are they though?
They
Like,
have us, their own. It's our
Mhm.
What's the
responsibility
dimensions
to
of the
keep
cake?
them entertained and live in full
Actually, I don't know. I've
Even
never
if
gotten
they
a whole
should enjoy
cheesecake
some
from
new
Cheesecake
plants and
Factory.
scenery every once in a while. I'm a vet.
I'm not too
Letting
sure.
your dogs around other
I
dogs
will say
until
their
they have
slices
all
are
their
pretty big.
vaccines.
Like,
Socialization so closes about 14
so I want to
weeks,
say like
meaning
each
it is pretty
cake
much
comes with
closed
like
if you
8
wait
slices.
until
I know
16
that doesn't
weeks.
help you
This causes top
because
dogs to
there's
go
no
nuts and
numbers
freak out
involved.
whenever
But
they see something new during that. Notice,
no.
I did not say to take them
But
to
I
a
know they're
dog
like
park.
$40,
They need to
$50.
be around other
Mhm.
dogs and other people in controlled situations, puppy socialization classes, friends' houses, etc. Make sure the dogs they are around are healthy,
This is such a
vaccinated, and good
dilemma.
with puppies, and let them have positive experiences with other dogs and people. Obviously, never get behind on their vaccines while you're expose them to your cool friends, your differences with beards, hats, sunglasses, pull out the broom, umbrella, while giving them and having the whole try to let on slick floors, mix, carpet, etc. So they won't have fear of those things, and always happy. Something makes them less. Every lack of exposure, negative interaction, makes them more. Your dog is your friend, not your slave. All is him do exactly whatever, no matter what. It's to make him have good manners. So let him have his own too. Not training him like he's in a circus to do a bunch of stuff for your amusement, or teaching him how to move safely in the world, which means not doing something, fighting, urinating, and that will be life someday. More dogs are surrendered and utilized for reasons than any other reason. Not socializing. Socialization, not just other dogs. Men in hands, pet care, foot touch, handle.
You know what? I actually like this one.
Car,
That's
TCEC,
Mhm.
basic dog
Because
and
all this stuff is
just a
true.
few basic commands
Some of
can
it.
make a difference. A
Most of it.
well-adjusted dog in a love dog with persistent issues being surrendered shelter. Former vet tech here. 1. A neuter for pets. No. She does not need to have a litter, and it might actually endanger her health to do so. Look up are too many unwanted cats. Please don't add. 2. Microchip and keep updated. Need to help find their way back home. Feet. Seriously, start as possible. This will help with nail trims. 4. Socialize your
play
anything
with the
and
feet.
everything.
What?
When this is done safely, it can help prevent problems. 5. Learn to read this behavior. Knowing when they are stressed out, scared, it can really help you avoid dangerous situations. 1 year away being a full-blown technician. 4 years before vet school. To ignore cat screaming, being constipated, like suffering urine, pigeon, they can die. Bring them to. It's not as much the food as. There are plenty of calculators online that will give you an idea of how much your should be. Then compare to the have and measure out what is a. And please. Often we are accused of being in this for the money. Of us take on huge loans to the of 200k for pets doctor. So have one of the highest rates of suicide as far as a profession goes.
What?
Please keep that in mind before you leave a mean review.
Good
Fairly
lord.
personal.
I
Trust me.
was
Maybe
not
some
aware of that.
exceptions,
Go hug your
but
vet
I
now.
speak for my colleague. Love your
Okay,
pets
maybe
too.
don't do that, but
That's why we spent 8+ years getting to doctor.
but you know what? That makes sense
Here
because
is my 2
they have to
cents
go
on
through.
exotic
I didn't know
pets
they
and
had to go
pocket
through
pets as
medical
a
school just to be a
veterinarian.
vet.
Please look
So
up
like you're a
basic husbandry and
full-fledged doctor
nutrition for
pretty
an
much,
exotic.
and then when you're a vet, you make considerably less
Koala.
than what you would make
The
if you'd been a
husbandry problem is
doctor.
a
And I was
major
like, that's
percent of
messed
an
up.
exotic pet's business, honestly. My pocket pet, they will be super low-key pets
Pocket
that are easy to
pets.
maintain. I argue how much harder because of delicate
Is
balance you have
Pikachu
to
your
strike.
pocket pet?
They have specific
He
Your
can't fit
pocket
inside.
monster?
He can't fit in the
humidity
pocket,
needs,
so
special bed, eating requirements,
What you trying to say? You
basking
trying to say he's
areas,
fat?
special
I'm
diets.
saying
That's
They
rude.
take a
he's
lot more work than your
normal
normal cat or
size.
dog.
that
You
he's
would
supposed to
believe
be.
the number of
So if he
iguanas
was a
and
pocket
lizards
pet,
I have seen
that would be
come
a
in on
serious medical
emergency
issue.
batter like rubber chickens and have zero bone density because the owners had no idea that calcium supplementation and eating were necessary. Also, guinea pigs must have vitamin supplementation. Know the pet store sell you everything you need when you pick up your new pet. The kid at the store not telling you what it needs is not an excuse, and it is your responsibility to search how to take care of your pet. Other mistakes people treating small version of a dog or cat. They have a dog that is super friendly and would never harm a fly, so they let their hang out in the same room the dog out of its cage. Shocker when the dog one day decides your bird is going to be lunch. Pocket pets and domestic pets are not friends and never will be. Another common exotic mistake is realizing how expensive their care can be. That $10 hamster also needs to go see the veterinarian for annual checkup. Just because the pet is cheap does not mean just a few saved up for the annual checkup and then minimum few for illness. If you can't afford that, sick occur, and you can't afford a pet. Most common mistake is not realizing that you absolutely must be proactive with sick exotic pets. They are
You feel
prey
attacked?
animals for the most designed
They
to their
said
owners. Once
they
show
said
clinical
if you
signs,
can't have,
they
if you
are
don't got a
very sick
job,
and
you
or
can't have
sometimes can
Pikachu.
be too late. Wait and see often leads
You
to
gotta go
death.
let him go.
Alright.
Don't say that vets are
Let him
in
out
for
the window.
money. I'm
He's been
raising a
staring all
family
day.
of 4,
Alright.
and last year I brought
I
home
know it
less than
always needs to
60k.
come.
Vets make
I'm
a
in
living
strength
that will never
prior.
be wealthy. We do not make recommendations to take your money. Make recommendations because we care about your pet's well-being. I have been a vet
Guys,
for 13 years and just last year made enough. And I still owe $80k on my student loan. Vets are not in it for the money. I'm a vet. Just a million things I wish owners would understand about their
oh my
pets'
god,
health.
Sweet
But
Cone, can you
equally
not kill
important
yourself,
is
please? Like, I
understanding that
actually
if
Sweet
you cannot
Cone?
afford
Yeah,
basic
Sweet Cone.
veterinary care, then you cannot afford
You're fighting Sweet Cone?
Yeah,
area.
fuck
This
boss.
is an industry with serious mental health. A routinely the suggested for evaluation once the symptoms started rather than waiting 6 weeks until the animal is a routine by the public for being uncaring
That
or
costs
having
Sweet
no
Cone.
compassion for not providing our services for so often.
I like
Veterinary
how the timer
diagnostics are at a fraction of the cost of diagnostics, and the turn and time is considerable. Want to euthanize your family member? No ability to cover the estimated cost of care. It's both in an unfortunate situation. The fact that I have to euthanize multiple pets on a daily basis is one of the worst parts of my job. Sometimes it's unavoidable, sometimes a traumatic end could particularly. So please don't expect me to cry over it. If I didn't distance myself from heart-wrenching sadness, I would never be able to do my job. I wish to acknowledge the difference between surviving and thriving. This is most evident with exotic pets like reptiles and birds. I think it applies to more common animals too. Too often you see people certain treatment difficult about something because their friends, partners, cousin, or whatever have heard of a case where X treatment that were true. Years of education and decades of scientific research tell me that X is probably the best thing to help your thrive. As student, it's starting to
Is
be more
Pikachu
believable,
thriving
or
or
at least the
surviving?
media
Yeah.
I follow, and
Oof.
surprisingly, the unscrupulous breeding dying of brachycephalic.
Does that answer your
Fat-faced.
question?
If you want to improve the life
Maybe.
of your pet,
Pikachu on the
make
phone.
sure they get breath from the
Or ask.
or
Alright.
be prepared to spend a lot of money on surgery to them do so, along with other problems associated with exercise
That's a
and
window.
its consequences. Get here.
Just
On
put the
all
phone
day,
near the
there
window.
are a few. It's 100%
Do you know
marketing.
where the
You're
window
paying
is?
extra for absolutely no benefit.
On the
we are
wall
the subject,
somewhere?
Exactly.
products should not specifically
Not
be
where I'm at.
avoided. It's need nutrients, not ingredients. And nutrients. Why owners elect not to do this astounds me, considering the number of conditions that can by this simple. If you cannot afford to $200, $100 a year on you, this covers only the basic services a pet should receive once yearly: exams, preventative medications and testing, vaccines, etc. If you have a pet, set aside a specific emergency fund for this pet, depending on the condition. This can save a life. A similar note, do not get a Great Dane and act surprised that medications for a £150 dog are more expensive than your old terrier medication. Listen to your veterinarian. The breeder said, it's not an excuse for anything. It doesn't take much to put 2 dogs in a room and wait 60 days. Why people say this to a veterinarian is beyond me. Your breeder makes money on making sure he produces a large number of viable offspring. Nothing. Vaccinate for the conditions your veterinarian recommends. When recommend them. We're not willing to spend the appropriate amount of time training and exercising your high energy. Get a fit. If you do experience with any dog in the
He
working
just said get a
class,
fish.
please
That's
at least put in the
rude.
time to research and then train your GSD, GSP, etc. Not purchase a pet for someone else as a surprise. Getting a pet is a 10-20 year commitment. Should not be dumped on an unwilling or unable family member, girl, etc. Not really a mistake. More of us are veterinarians have one of, if not the highest suicide rate by profession. This is influenced by high stress environment, desire to save every inability, a mistake, misdiagnosis or lost pet, high student loan debt, access to euthanasia, other drugs, view on euthanasia, etc. Be kind to your veterinarian. I wish I could help people understand that I'm really trying to rob them when I recommend diagnostics. I'm trying to get more so I can make the best
Of course, you
medical
fucking miss Fire
recommendations for
Blast.
their
Like
pet.
everything in this
Without
game is
that
just
information,
missing.
I'm just guessing, educated guessing.
Would it miss
Less
Fire
educated
Blast, you
than I
said?
could be if you just let me run
So
the damn
dumb.
champagne. Yes, I understand you will still have to pay for treatments, and that makes you upset about wasting money. There is a chance that
Why does Jacob have
diagnose
no
the problem.
water pokes?
It is so hard to make people understand this, and to when people have a tight budget, people handbag and the newest iPhone. $25 test for their $1,500 bill. Those people exist. Just a reminder. Sidewalk.
Are you those people, Viv?
This
You're
look
Going
like I
up
have a
there
Gucci
with
bag,
having
a
any better
freaking
Louis
Chanel
Vuitton bag.
purse. This look like I
Not
have a
vaccinating your
fucking
pets because you are
Gucci
sold on
sweater
the
with
cool
Gucci
offered by
sweatpants and a
antidepressants.
Gucci
Not
case
keeping your
iPhone.
pet in optimal
This
body
look like I have an
condition score.
iPhone 11
Not
XR
going for
2
yearly
times
checkups.
100 times 100.
Anyone speak up for
Do
exotic
you,
pets?
Viv?
Non-cat dog
I
pets
do.
are sometimes horribly cared for, even with especially reptiles. Pet stores normally give poor, uneducated guidelines for care. Animals available for sale are often kept in inappropriate, even deadly conditions while waiting to be sold. Cats are in heat and are able to get pregnant longer than you may think. Even if they don't appear in heat, they can also get pregnant again 72 hours after eating. Then you got these people
That's
like,
weird.
wasn't in heat, so I'll let her go outside. Then why is she giving birth back? You have been by the Frosty Dogger. Summer will. If you comment, stay cool. Frosty Dog. If you are
Stay
new to
cool.
the channel, you can subscribe. Publish videos every day. Until then, check another video. Or don't. Great day, you magnificent people.
Who is he to tell me how to spend my day? Maybe I want to have a horrible day today.
Therapists over it. What's the most common looked mental damage that a child gets from the way parents, classmates, etc. them? 20 years as a therapist, and a good number of those as the clinical director of children's and adolescent residential facilities. I would say kiddos want to know if their behavior bad. Response from the parent should be the same. Inconsistencies create anxieties. Therapist here. I'd say instilled shame in your child by calling names, putting them down, being over, etc. Of course, it's a continuum, but if a child is shamed too much and too often, sometimes that can result in them thinking they don't deserve to be happy, they don't deserve to be treated with respect. And a person that doesn't care about themselves is a dangerous person. Not making the pin about the child and making it about the parent's own ego anger. I see this a lot. People who punish their child with control, it seems to make them not to teach. It turns into this battle where the seems to feel their kid ice and despondent, then they don't learn out what they did wrong. Here, horror. The emotional abuse, slighting, passive aggression, shaming that can truly frick children. Don't have to agree with it, but there's a massive difference between demonstrating behavior and bad. Realized my dad had still I thought that just because my dad hit me was over a upset off in my area. Pressure on constant needing to succeed in everything or be of my child answer in that mindset of if I don't get A's my parents will be upset and I will never amount to any my life. Then as they get older they burn out and suicidal when they can't meet parents' expectations. When your 13-year-old trouble staying away says they don't want to live, it's too hard. Please look into medical conditions rather than shaming them for trying to seek a I'm a therapist. Kids with frustrating one for me dealing with parents who lost their crap whenever they saw their stimming. And I talked
Thank
had
you
a
for
few
following
parents
Jeff.
who were stopped flapping their
I
hands
want to see your
because they
name.
didn't want them to look autistic. Their
Jeff
kids managed to
Asuna?
suppress the hand
Is it Jeff
clapping,
Asuna?
but instead themselves or
But thank you for
scratch
the follow.
themselves to get similar sensory input. Heartbreaking to see kids with scar tissue hands because their parents' ego. While I would never call child abuse, my dad messed me up fairly publicly by trying to homework in grade 1-3, ages 6-8 in Australia. I remember being pretty okay at math, even winning a small award something at one point. I started getting home it all downhill from there. Dad would go through the problems with me, but if I didn't get the answer straight away he would get incredibly frustrated with me. His tone of voice would change and instead of gentle encouragement, got to the where if I didn't know the answer I would just sit there and stare at the. Then I started doing this in class too, especially if there was a test and silent. I was so frightened of asking for that I would just sit paralyzed until I started to cry. This has affected me into my adult life. I've tried to go to university, chose a chemistry class in the first year. I've attempted it times and failed without due to and stress. The other units just can't get past that one. I love my dad. I'm also very full of him. Of asking for help. Lack of positive encouragement. I see this one that I see will often have self-esteem, bother trying in anything, etc. The only time they're acknowledged when they do something wrong. I once worked with a girl who was an amazing artist, paint very and never show her work. Apparently every time she them they would pick it apart and point out all the without complimenting anything. She's a great artist. Thinks she's not because her parents never supply. Sad part. Their parents don't even realize that it isn't perfect by your standards. Still go. Not a therapist. Studying to be a social interaction is important, especially for children who are learning how to navigate social. Kids who get excluded being shy would end up having a lot of mental health problems later on. They think no one likes them and they don't deserve friends. Sometimes we just need less judgmental of each other and anytime a child is invalidated that is stop crying. Being over dramatic, it's not that bad. Think of the in Africa who have less than you, etc. This is a breeding ground of all sorts of difficulties in later life like low self-esteem. Being an abuse.
I'm saying, because like it just set that standard that children from Africa are, living horrible lives, and like that may be the case in some areas, but like some of them are like happy where they are. You know what I mean? Like you can be happy where you are and still have issues or problems, in your community. But that doesn't mean
It invalidates.
I don't know. I just always hated that sentence.
My grandparents always used that
anything since they can't do the easy stuff, especially that they can't do it. That there's some executive function getting in the like they can't initiate it or sustain attention long. If someone isn't something easy, there's a reason. It's usually possible to get past it if you take the time to look. One big that really hate my dad growing up. It's one thing I've
Good
many
lord,
items today.
You said what?
Strangers, utmost friendly.
No, I was like, that was just a strong sentence.
My mother with his short fuse, ignoring me and my sister trying to talk. Didn't exist. Seeing us in public. Aussies never mattered. Made me sick when I one time called multiple times to spilling some customer service person. Find a flaw in any kind of work I show him. Never a himself a Christian. Sure doesn't seem like he follows any. He just wants to avoid getting spit roasted.
I call Stantler.
Speaking experience. No
Yay! Stantler doesn't evolve in the old
I
game.
was always compared
It
to
doesn't
other
evolve in
kids
general.
teach
Oh.
me how to be.
What's that other deer Pokemon that evolves? And it's not a legendary. It's not.
I'm an adolescent, but I still compare myself to doesn't
Is that what
get
you're talking
extremely.
What does it evolve into?
It just teaches you that you're
Huh?
worse than everybody else.
So what does it evolve into?
Someone is a
Sawsbuck.
cute way of saying hello or goodbye to someone, even to doesn't know that. We see the kid. It. Lot of parents force them to. I hate seeing our kids that they're the boss of their own body image. Waving to someone is ugly. Being treated expectations them that are higher than his means allowing them to experience things that are beyond standard. Them like adults, expecting them to do things too young, like reading and writing, pushing for things that are not, like short attention spans needing to move, expecting them to stand social that kids just don't get yet. It can start feeling or pick up don't fit in same so they do. They learn to love themselves. So up siblings far too quickly and often feel or so it can actually get people scary enough to stand at their end who are considered adults in courts or by police officers being mistreated. Capable of listening like an adult. The scariest to me is parents who have a problem with teens and even. Yes, it's not a huge deal. An induced schizophrenia. Need to understand that kid. A kid. Thing I experienced was treating it as a relationship. My dad used to say, file your report when I was. Your kids, you love them and spiritual. Even just saying
As for the
you
AI
love
we
them
read,
and
that's
for
so
them go
stupid.
extremely.
You just what?
Huh?
But a kids manager.
You just what?
It reads your inputs.
Thing that seen as
Oh.
primary. Extremely.
What are you? Oh, you're still fighting Suicune.
No, I've been beat her. But
Oh, so what are you doing now?
there's other challengers that have to fight after.
Oh. Okay. I can't see your screen. I don't have the screen up.
Parent will be upset and unpredictable. So advanced to parents.
Of course you'd be fucking paralyzed, yo. Stupid.
ET. Get help by finding a. This might mean swallowing. Seeing a. Going in. On your. And they are often experiencing pain, sadness for similar reasons. Or and evenly. Them and. I'm not.
I love how this without conditions instead of unconditionally.
To another child. Tell them they were and then what mistake. Hit them period. Tell them compliment sandwiches. You sweet. Fricked up spelling test because Saw you. Listen to me. Smart kid. Children, them off. Disappear.
Have you ever watched The
Take no
Fosters?
interest in that.
Mm-mm.
You should definitely watch it. It's on
rather
Netflix.
than discipline.
Is it on
Them
Hulu?
for ruining.
I think.
She her and gets to pretend.
I can
Done such a
check
good
when
job
we,
with us. I'd
because I'm
rather
watching
eat my
Hulu in
left
the
hand
background.
than let my be alone. I need
Let
more
me
therapy
check.
to work through. She's put. It's expensive and a. Mom is a size 4-6. Really eats well. She constantly. How she thinks she's fat and says that I keep calling. I'm not. Something from her. Mom did the same. I struggled with Sia for 14. Still, talent. Don't let it.
Is it called The
I vowed
Foster?
with my
Yeah,
daughter
The
not
Fosters.
to talk about myself like that in front of her.
I don't have it.
Myself, so I don't negatively. So that. Have mentioned psychological maltreatment, emotional neglect, name calling, etc. Harmful. Obviously physical,
Like
harmful
doesn't
to
do
a child.
anything.
Psychological led to more long-term effects and is associated like PTSD and
I'm
personality
scared to kill this.
disorder. Name a few. My mom let her boy herself and I for years found out it was sexual. Still went back to the rest of my family had sweeping drug and move mindset. They resent for not my life. My serious my issue versus my up. Says sometimes can not a therapist. And people don't take anxiety seriously sometimes like people. It's an excuse sometimes so people just brush. It's a phase. It's not a phase. Chris, so stop poking fuzzy pencil. My parents don't seem to think society depression exists. I've heard about depression, anxiety, and they'd be stop. Sorry. And I find that I know several of mine have, and they certainly just feel sorry for themselves. Don't force your children, especially don't make them to dealt with 2 whole years. Flip side, it's them to not. It's them to of them anyway. Support whatever they believe in reason. Selfish crap, frick them. I'm with them even. Rather do something else. That said, the year is a great child, yet it's almost impossible to find things that will stick with her. At her, speaking away. ETC. I'm not perfect and should think doing the thing they've done frick their child up forever. I consistently sitting in my lap like this. But the damage comes from the consistency terror kids get made to feel. Honestly, I can argue they've got so many stresses that the norm of children. Terrible
I
things
cannot
that
lose
people are
my
writing about
head.
are their own. Truly, it's on purpose. Those cases super frick too.
He's
Not
getting
a
the fucking
therapist, but
Pokeball.
when some fans say to acting up in public, stop laughing, looking at you and opinion. Driver of my
Blizzard.
social anxiety. I struggle now. People experience the worst, but extremely done when kids don't feel
Of
unconditional
course you
love
get
from
frozen.
their affection and
Yeah.
attention. Undermine self because kids always think that it don't them and they can love. This results in of problems, especially need to not even act stupid. That doesn't mean shouldn't but expect just leave infant too long without into the Some people think pride out self-soothe. It's just about infancy is when children attachment are supposed to secure to their caregivers. They are upset and become anxious. Cry in order to get the caregiver feeds them, etc. When parents unconditional, their crying has no result. When something is they are not expecting, it might not seem like type of attachment relationship for the rest of them. They do not attachment. They can have trouble ever sharing their coming close as level desired standard kids, and I assume the majority of parents don't notice it. It's sure as heck not a thing. It's how I don't argue, yell at your yes.
Who writes
Talk
that?
bad about them one for unless that I mostly see parents who nag and yell consequences, place children of their own instantly, let them play Call of Duty, go Fortnite at 5 years. Not a therapist, but a ungodly amount of research after having my own being a problem myself. I wanted to cycle. Starts from a getting a floods the soul and crying not baby, even when sleep. It's from home. It's bladed stress levels when angry tones of can't who will have a hard time regular on and on. People sponge like having a girlfriend in cheery tones that smiles in front of a kid when still an infant. So we had to make sure to keep the right vibe. 100% the biggest thing is loud noise, being angry. If either my parents, they at work, come home angry and start banging pots around or aggressively emptying, start to stress when a roommate puts a pot, slams a door. I automatically associate sudden bangs with anger. It's ruined. Not a therapist, but don't tell your kid that they're not allowed an opinion because they don't. Don't try and force them to respect you because you change their diapers. Don't force them to talk to you. Dismiss things they tell you doesn't align perfectly perspective, and don't blame both their age other than them. I can't. Personal experience will freak up your child in some way, see it or not. Not telling of you because they should just know it's true. Our house, my wife and I, standing if we are on prom, have found as the kids get older that same thing. Second marriage us. When married I 16 years. Wife's daughter 12 and 7. Of our function, we try to set an example of a functional partnership. Work as I would say dismissing kids' feelings and or concerns when the question doesn't know what to do or doesn't want. I cannot count the number of times I saw grown social and in response to kids being honest about situations and adults' feelings based on what is for the child. Trying to minimize a child's feelings and worries because equipped or what unacceptable. On days I am feeling overwhelmed something and
Oh my
I
god,
don't know
stop
what to
jumping
do or
her,
can't think and
dicks.
it's not an emergency. I just tell them I'm glad you told us. I need it because I am tired. 9 times out of 10. Consistent with children I know. Can't afford the expense but love. Accept that answer and doesn't work. They are overtired or cranky or something along those lines. accept the adults who have chosen to be responsible for children's welfare capacity to dump problems. Probably. When I was small mistake by the same teacher. Self doing size and stutter issues, trusting teachers, and a few other things. Not a thing. My dad used to joke a lot, except these were in someone died or that serious out hang young teen my phone to say your. I'd ask why. He would respond, no why. Start to panic. Try and I have something stew for so and then text being like that. Sometimes I was in trouble, so this was a joke in for severe. Of taken over stressful situation encounter children stress for teaching. So please, it's not important. If you feel bad, it's always bad enough to talk to them. Get away from toxic environments. Make time for yourself. All listed before seems impossible to find a professional. Get there. Taking care of yourself is the way to children around you. Not a thing. One of the most. My mother, adult, straight in. I had kid problems. Did something a kid would do. Situation. One extreme example is my first dog died. I tried to lodge it to me and stop crying. She yelled, slammed my. Day I've noticed myself a lot more cold to the world and to genuine get emotions and others. I love my mother, but I resent her. I face now. This is the best flight. 10 years in exchange for like on this. I can subscribe you magnificent. Sovereign is the biggest bro. Yet they don't need to know about. I don't know, but sometimes slip at one's one while he's in or asleep when he has a date. He's a good student. Hard time. Car insurance, his spending money can be a little tight. Don't think he knows because I've heard friends about money he forgot about. Definitely counts and horrible. I'm a nat. I've some brothers I look after. My favorite one was the time the 6-year had his first little sweet, kind and adore. 6-year sensitive boy and I often have to read hot. That too. It's because the pet light is on. Doesn't mean the car will stop. Anyway, he had on a good ass. Super cute, long brown hair, big dark eyes. Agonized. Speaking day, picked her hour once which I on her lunchbox and didn't say who it's from. Go to pick up one day and I notice a girl is anxious. Her mum is. I hear her saying to herself, "Where chance to text." I go up to her, saying, "Great. If your mum is late, you can come sit with us. Wait for her." Games with 6U on my phone. His face lights up. 6U then
sorry.
impresses extensive Pokemon Go knowledge and I nod along saying,
If I'm a little girl
powerful on my phone.
and another adult approaches me and is like, "Hey, yeah, you can sit with me and play on my phone," I'm gonna be like, "No, thank you." I don't know about you,
Mum
man.
almost says no until I start talking Greek to her.
I
Greek
would
people are
say,
funny like
leave
that.
me the fuck alone.
Strict parents, they trust their own. Anyway, they have play dates every now and she super adorable. Obligated to that. Last year, my daughter first grade Shopkin snap bracelet with super profit after a it off at school to wash her hands and left it in the bathroom. The lost and found everything up. Finally reached the basement and the lady at the front desk sneaked in the lost and found box. Now your kid will actually check lost and found when things you coats, scarves, etc. My wife and I adopted our now 8-year-old when 5, a few days into living in our house. Down because find his Batman action. He and his young sister were living with a biological grandmother prior to living with us, and I guess it got lost
These
in the
idiots
mix.
dropped the fucking
Their
subway
grandma
key.
was significant health issue, dementia, diabetes, and couldn't finance 2 kids. Anyway, he was freaking out. Batman after hours, screaming and crying. He finally fell asleep. I went out and brought an action figure from the store and put it next to him. Woke up in the morning and asked where it came from. Told him. Popped it off. Noticed that it convinced him that. Stayed up night fixing it. Asked her about it. Remember, it's pretty close to her things and really question it. Maybe he knows, but I don't see any harmful. Now and will likely pass soon. I want memories are the best. My 10-year-old son is strategy. In his 5th grade class they play a lot of them. 1 week at a time, and he almost always gives up the and he's in a pressure situation. Sometimes falters and puts himself up about it. Ago, it was playing champ, undefeated, and one Thursday night the school had big parents, his kid and taught dozens and dozens of games where his parents played.
My God, move! What the fuck?
Full of frantic games,
Narrow ass
and with one game remaining, adults and kids like 102 down. Something. Will victorious for the first time since the book. This is my son. The kid hyped up like crazy. They are close to it. The guy that hopes on is my son. Player. Once earlier, are packed around the table, chanting his stressing out big, super frazzle. Bakes are really essentially happy, and the parents yet another victim. Realized, he was just devastated. I just stare hard at them, fake concentrating as convincingly and pretend. Made a different. He pounces and wins. That happened. He's home on
a whole lot of ape shit.
having
Yeah.
stopped the parent win streak. Totally worth it. My dad pulled of this. He let me win checkers the first time we ever a single time did I win. Not a parent. To be a nanny to autistic, outwardly noticeable. Other kid that she talked oddly, poorly. Pendants. 8 syllable. Some things strange. One day at a it's probably 6 or so. 2 girls asked me, "Are you an?" My nan said, "Oh," and seemed disappointed. I asked if they was with her, and they said not really. One leaned forward, told me that the girl my nan talks funny. It's just her accent. Her father is French, even though accent and that accents were. They were 6 and had no idea, so they were someone with accent. Friend it started telling other kids accent. One of those 2 girls moved. Best friend. 8 years later, apparently 6-year-olds think accents are great. Are a broken. If there is a heaven, there will tribute next. The parent. Mom saved my butt. When I was 30, I started my.
Alright, so I'm having a dilemma.
What happened?
And as a result,
so my order comes to the total of like $64.
$64?
Uh-huh.
Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry, 53, so.
My brother invites one of his friends over.
Should I just get like one slice of cheesecake instead of a whole cake?
How much is the whole cake without like fee and shit?
$24.95.
How did it become $64?
My mom
I also
said
got
that
a
it was
chicken sandwich.
that she accidentally forgot
How
to
did
flush.
still?
However, my mom hadn't had a period in over
And
10
delivery
years
is
at
like
this
$8.
point. I
That's
didn't find out
ridiculous.
until
And then
maybe
tip is
6
like
years later.
$9.
You don't
Took
leave
the
that thing
fall for
alone.
me because
Leave
she
it
knew that
alone.
I, like my mother's friend, didn't want to frick anything up for me. Total bro. Mum is the MVP.
I don't need cheesecake.
My mother-in-law did not approve of us having more than one child
You don't
because
need
of
it.
overpopulation.
You don't need to be
She was
spending
in love with our
$64
first
for a
child.
piece of
Then when
chicken
we had our second
and
child, she did
I
not
heard
treat
you.
piece
us
of
the
Okay,
same
cake.
I got you. I'll
Yeah,
do
no,
tropical
she never
smoothie.
should have
Maybe
been
they have different.
us when
But you said
our
what?
third was
I said I'll try tropical
so
smoothie.
each year at Christmas, she sent one several expensive gifts and one cheap gift to child. Some gifts for child 2 and them from grandma. So they were away, so
God,
it's
what
no
can I
longer an
say?
issue to worry about. My kid knocked over in the living room. She was dancing around. Mom got her. She stormed out to my kid and knew. See the fear in it. I stepped in and said I knocked it. I was throwing. I paid for it and one way. It's totally worth it because I'm an excuse to go. New TV. Another TV story. My best friend's sister accidentally TV playing. We felt just terrible. Dad would be never got angry. Said it was an accident. Went out much nicer. Hardly on topic, but somewhat. My mom and I, and still have, though it hasn't been the code and gesture that meant whatever out to ask you. Say no or come up with a reason not to come up with it, so I out of having out
Barely
with
any shadow
annoying kids
Pokemon.
without
What?
setting it. Mom used it a few times when I was ill, so I'd remind her about an appointment that needs running. I would basically mates and bros. Played a lot of COD online together. I need to pass this method on to my husband. It's comic back on it, but we're in the just want someone to back up to get out of something. Start catching on. Frustration. I believe your method will solve this problem nicely. Of two here. My entire life. To that